So the Xbox Summer Games Showcase just ended, and I really wanted to give you guys just some fresh reacts to what I thought of the show. Spoiler alert, 9 out of 10. I'm just gonna go right out and say I was almost blown away really at the amount of games they had to show during this thing. It was way longer than I thought, and it was just like an insane amount of just things that we kind of already knew were coming, and then just some like crazy new things. I mean, there's some third-person action adventure games that are just like, honestly came out of nowhere. I will admit, some of those games started to look the same. During this video, what I want to do is I want to go through just some highlights, what I liked, what I think is working, and, you know, kind of just share how I feel about Xbox moving forward. There's been just like so much doom and gloom when it comes to this brand, right? It's just been, you know, heavily rumored. Is Xbox going third party? Are they giving up on consoles? Really, I mean, this year, I would say this showcase, I wouldn't say it saved Xbox in a way. I mean, there's still a little bit of a weirdness with like their strategy and what they're doing. But I mean, they brought games and they really just like, I think, knocked it out of the park. So what happens first is they start with a Call of Duty Black Ops 6 reveal. And I mean, they had Black Ops 6 saved up for later. To give you guys just kind of what I think real quick about the Black Ops series, it is where Call of Duty, I think, does its best. They stray a little bit away from like that modern shooter, and they go into this whole like espionage Black Ops, you know, hence the name. So they went into campaign. We're going full Michael Bay here, action hero. They go into it a little bit more afterwards, but I thought it was a pretty good teaser for our campaign and kind of what's happening. I mean, the action looked great. I really like so far what's going on with like the maps that they're showing when it comes to multiplayer. There's like a really cool casino area, and I thought that was pretty cool. Then they jumped into something that was already rumored on Twitter. We've got a new Doom game, Doom Dark Ages. It looks insane. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm hyped over Doom. I'm always hyped over Doom. Doom is just one of my favorite series. Just as soon as I heard the metal music just going in and just, you know, the kills, it was just like, I got excited. This one is gonna be coming out on all systems. Actually, if I think about it, a lot of those games are probably going to be coming out on a lot of systems, and it's not just Xbox exclusives. There are some exclusives there, but I mean, we'll find out later. But, you know, so far, PS5, PC, Xbox, doesn't matter. You get to play Doom and you get to play Call of Duty. We then had a couple different, like, I would say, not really gameplay trailers. And for me, whenever I watch one of these showcases, the thing that bothers me the most is when I don't see gameplay. And we had, you know, right off the bat, State of Decay 3, coming out in 2025. I tried playing State of Decay like 1 and 2. I think I just couldn't really get into that game. A lot of people like it. You know, it might be something I have to go revisit, but you know, it was just a zombie trailer. I mean, survivors killing zombies. Nothing too crazy there. And then Dragon Age actually really kind of wowed me, but I don't know if it wowed me in a good way. I've played maybe just one Dragon Age game, and I think it was the most recent one that came out like 10 plus years ago. I'm not sure. But this one off the bat, I mean, just the art style alone, I had no idea this was Dragon Age. You know, there's a huge fan base for that type of game. I've heard just amazing things. I do want to, you know, try this one out when it does come out, but I think it was the first time we actually got to see something about Dragon Age, so that's great news. And then here's something that really surprised me. Everyone knows Starfield DLC was eventually going to come out. You know, it's not a surprise what I think of the game. I just was really bored. I thought there was a lot of missed opportunity. You could check out my review for like my full thoughts, but Starfield for me was just a big miss. I had to really just drag myself to finish it, and it felt like every time I wanted to give up, all I saw online was that, hey, when you get to this certain area, this is when the game gets fun. And I just never got fun. But Starfield's DLC looks like everything I wanted Starfield to be. So this one is a lot more like space, weird cult intrigue. It looks like it's going into the Varun or whatever with the worm. There's just a lot more like sci-fi element here. I actually watched that trailer and just thought, man, if Starfield, if just one freaking planet was on that level, it would have changed the game completely. Because for me, Starfield didn't really get good until the end, and then it just sped its way through the end with the whole portals and dimension thing, which is a really cool concept, but the game was a snooze fest up until then. I do have that, you know, whatever edition. I am going to be able to play it, so when that comes out, I'll probably give an updated review. We're in this insane, stupid age where games come out and they get better later. And, you know, I'm thinking Cyberpunk. I love Destiny, but Destiny is just like a prime example of just a game that gets better in time. It's shit. I wish these games would come out great, but this is just the nature of what's been going on now. So it is what it is, and I'll give it a re-review or a shot and see if it gets any better. They did announce that there was just some updates. From everything I've seen with Starfield, it looks like a lot of the quality of life updates that people wanted have been finally coming out. Again, too little, too late. I haven't really gone back to check these out. We also had a couple third-person games. You've got Claire Obscure, which was, it looks interesting. Third-person combat games are pretty fun, at least in my opinion. PlayStation has some great ones like God of War, and it's almost like, Xbox is finally diving into that genre. It looks interesting. I, can't say much, but, it was nice to actually see gameplay when it comes to stuff like this, giving me kind of an idea. I'm not too excited, I would say, for it, but it looks like something we'll try out. It's on Game Pass, so why the hell not? Just really give it a shot. Speaking of third person, we had South of Midnight, which I think has re-showed back up, but this time we saw a lot more gameplay. It's got this cool stop motion cartoon visual effect. It took at first I thought my phone was bugging when I was watching this, but no, it was just the style that they went with. The game looks pretty smooth though when you get into the combat and all of that. So got this swamp setting, crocodiles and things like that and magic. So something new, I would say, and something interesting. I'm all for new IPs because honestly, this whole generation has just felt like remaster, and it's just been constant. It just felt like, we got these new systems and it's for what? It's just, we're just playing old games again and again and again. And that takes me right into another old game that we get to play again. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater is having kind of a remaster. I'm gonna, I'd probably get some shit for this, but I never played it on PS2. I always wanted to play it. It always looked really cool. I have played all the other Metal Gear games, but that one kind of just slipped through for me. I'm excited to try it out. I like the whole espionage stealth thing, even though I suck ass at stealth games. I used to be good when I was a kid, but as I've gotten older, I've gotten more impatient. But it looks awesome. I think it's something that's also coming out for all consoles, so it's good there. And then a big one for me was the Perfect Dark reboot, which is insane. It's been rumored. And, this is something I want to talk about because Xbox has a catalog of really, really good game series, like Perfect Dark, for example. And it just felt like they just never did anything with it. And this showcase just felt like they finally remembered, hey, we've got these really, really cool series that we should be making games for. There's fan bases here. I've played the old Perfect Dark games. This one looked awesome. The action looked great. The graphics looked great. It actually showed off some gameplay. It wasn't just cutscenes and things like that just to hype us up. And I'm excited. Again, this is another one coming out on Game Pass, and it's just getting more and more hard for me to cancel if all these games are coming out on Game Pass. We also got another look at the new Fable game. It looked like it was a little bit more gameplay, but it wasn't, like a real gameplay trailer, kind of like a cinema style type of trailer with a little gameplay sprinkled in. And being a Fable fan, I don't care, I'm buying it. I'm gonna try it out. It's probably, I'm just hoping it's gonna be really good. I don't think it's made by the same developers. It's, I think, the Forza Horizon developers that are making this, which those games are great, but it's a completely different genre. No matter what, it's nice to see this series kind of just back, especially because I think we haven't had anything since Fable 4 maybe, or 3. I'm just trying to remember which one it was, which I don't remember it being that good. Fable 1 and 2 were great, but I think the ones after it kind of started to fall off. That game is known for just insane promises from Peter Molyneux or whatever, and we haven't heard anything here. I don't think he's attached to this one, and it's hard not to be hyped for it as a fan, but I don't think they've shown us anything so far that's really kind of grabbed me and said, okay, if I've never played this series, do I want to try it? I've never played those Life is Strange games, but they showed a sequel to that one off. But then the showcase, in my opinion, started to fumble. It was right after that. We had the Indiana Jones one. And Indiana Jones is something that we've already seen. We know it's coming out. If you ask me, I think it'll look a lot better third person, but whatever. I'm, hesitantly excited to see it. But this one kind of just played out this long movie, which is kind of funny. It's got that humor of Indiana Jones, with the bad guy going, ho, ho, ho. Or whatever he was doing, and it's probably gonna get memed instantly, but it just felt like they were just showing us this huge cutscene to where now when I watch Indiana Jones or actually get to that point in the game, I'm just okay, I've already seen this. They did show snippets of gameplay at the end. That's where my criticism about the first person comes into play. It looks like it'll work, but third person feels like where the game really, really belongs. But, you know, I'm not like the most excited about it, but I do think it'll be pretty cool. It looks like something new, and it's something I want to try out. Speaking of games that look awesome, we've got Avowed coming out as well. The makers of New Vegas and Outer Worlds actually are making this game. Got a big budget behind them. I think this one's been through just a lot. Every time I see it, it looks a little different. The color palette here was a lot more vibrant, but I'm excited for it. I trust these developers. The gameplay looks sweet. I mean, we've got swords and magic. I'm freaking down, and I can't wait for this one. And last but not least, something that really, really impressed me that I've just been waiting on for forever, and it just felt like Microsoft was finally listening. Remember when I said they had all these franchises, right? You've got Halo, you've got Fable, you've got Perfect Dark. Finally, we've got a brand new Gears of War game coming. This one is a prequel. You got Marcus Phoenix in it. You've got Dom, they're back. And this just looks like, boom, just member berries 100% of the way. I was excited, and this is something that people like me who've played all the Gears games, we've always kind of dreamt of this, right? You hear about E-Day, you hear about what happened and how this whole invasion happened, and this looks like exactly what they're trying to show us. They took us back to like the roots here, and this is like a series that I really, really love. It was one of the series besides Halo that got me into online shooters. I remember staying up way too late playing Gears of War multiplayer when that was first out, going into Gears of War 2 and 3. The Xbox 360 days were amazing, and this series has kind of just like fallen off. I didn't really like the last one. I don't think I even got around to finishing it, but I'm excited for this one. I really am. It was the shock that I needed. It even kind of, I think, had the little bit of Mad World in the background. It was amazing. We saw zero gameplay. I don't care. Just the fact that we've got a Gears of War game coming is enough bonus for me. I can't wait for it. It looks like it's another Game Pass game, which is, I would say, a huge plus on this whole thing, is that everything that looked like they were showing is also coming out on Game Pass. So even more reason to have it. Cancel when you're not using it, whatever. But at the end of the day, great value. So to wrap up my thoughts on how the Xbox did for the showcase, 9 out of 10, I would say almost perfect. It did stumble a little bit, I would say, with the Indiana Jones stuff. Also, I would say a lot of the games aren't really coming out till 2025. So it looks like 2024 is kind of like this stopgap year. There's not much coming out on PlayStation this year either. It does give us some time to catch up. A lot of cool indie games, I would say, coming out. But there are, I think, a couple 2024 releases, but nothing really big, nothing crazy. If you ask me, has Xbox really fixed their sentiment with this showcase? I mean, they showed us games, and that's what people were all waiting for. We're all waiting for games, right? Why do I own this console? I just want to play games. The more and more this keeps happening, the more and more I keep seeing these showcases, the more I'm realizing that I don't know if I'm the target audience for Xbox anymore. And it's because of what they're doing. So everything was coming out on Game Pass. Everything's also coming out on PC. And for someone like me that's got a PC, an Xbox, a PlayStation, it's just like half the time I'd rather just play these games on PC. It looks like the consoles are geared towards more people that want to just play on their couch, or maybe they've got kids that want to play on consoles. There wasn't anything there that really was just like, this is Xbox only. I'm not really, I guess I would say I'm conflicted about it as an owner of both. So my Xbox sits in my living room. I get to play it on my huge, LG OLED. It's an awesome experience when I do get to play it. But, due to what I do, how I make content, how I record, I play here. I play on my PC the most. And, I've got an awesome freaking monitor I just got. And I love this thing. Ultra wide is honestly the way, but my system gets less and less playtime as this whole generation goes on. And it's almost just like Xbox kind of shot themselves in the foot with this play anywhere thing. I do love that, everyone gets to play the Call of Duty beta at the same time. We don't have these PlayStation exclusive. This is coming out right now. Xbox gets to play it later. PC gets to play it later. I like what they're doing. It's very gamer first. And, you do get to choose, right? I get to play it on PC here. And then it's after PC, I could continue it, in my living room half the time with that whole play anywhere thing. I did that with Starfield. I was able to even freaking play it here on my Steam Deck and just take it into bed and just stream the game. So I like that. I really like what they're doing. The more and more this generation goes on, the more and more my system just doesn't get played. And, they did launch or announce a couple new systems coming out. You've got diskless Series X, which is an all white one. But again, I don't see a reason to own it. There was, I would say, a rumor about a handheld coming out. You could always play on an ROG Ally on your Xbox games. You know, I play it even on my Steam Deck. Sometimes, you know, it's awesome being able to play these things portable. And I would say the one thing missing here, the one thing missing was for them to dive into that whole handheld space. PlayStation's got kind of like their own handheld streaming thing. You know, Xbox, you do get to use like those third-party ones. I like my ROG Ally, but it broke and I got a Steam Deck instead. It's been working amazing. You know, that's, I would say, like the only weird thing about kind of like this showcase, kind of what's going on. They did hint that they're working on the next generation in gaming, and this just sucks. It really does, because I almost feel like this generation was kind of just a miss on both systems. It's been nothing but remasters. I don't know. It didn't feel like a big, awesome, I would say, like generation, you know, kind of like how the Xbox 360 era was. It almost feels like we're nearing the end here, and, you know, they're working on something new and we're going to get a whole new system upgrade. So besides all that, that wraps up my, you know, immediate thoughts on how I think this whole presentation went. I think out of all their presentations, this is the best one. We got a lot of games. Everything's coming to Game Pass. All those old series that we've been just itching to hear from are coming back. Only miss here is that not much is coming out this year, but a lot is going to be coming out 2025. We've got, you know, Gears of War is making its return, Perfect Dark. I missed this one also, but Stalker looked awesome. I've never played it, but also coming out. Diablo's getting an expansion. We've got Fallout 76 that has a huge expansion where you can become a ghoul. You've got some new series that are coming out, you know, a lot of third-person action-adventure types, Dragon Age as well, State of Decay for those fans. I mean, it was just a lot of games coming out. And then on top of that, they had a huge Black Ops 6 reveal after, which, if you ask me, this one's gonna bring Call of Duty back. Seriously, I think they're actually innovating on this one. The campaign looked like fun. They are updating the movement. And, you know, we're not seeing multiplayer yet, but this one looks like an actual brand new game, not just a reskin. And I mean, I'm excited. It looks like all these purchases might be paying off. I really hope so. Xbox has kind of been buying studios, shutting them down, and it's been a pain for everybody. But here's me being optimistic. I want games to do well. I want Xbox to do well, Nintendo to do well, Sony to do well. I own them all. And, you know, I don't want to sell or get rid of any of them. I want them to thrive. And I mean, for me, as long as I can play some awesome games, it's all that freaking matters. Drop a comment. Let me know what you thought about the whole showcase. You know, did Xbox do enough to convince you that they're still in this fight? How do you feel about their strategy moving forward? What did you think of the whole showcase? Let me know in the comments. Feel free to subscribe, help us out. We're working our way towards that 500 subscriber mark, getting real close. Anything helps, any like, any interaction, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks.